Yo, alright, so I gotta tell you this story about my uncle. I just called him and I said, remember back in it was like 2002 or something, he had built an entire business for years and stuff got real bad in the economy and started like hitting the fan. And so, let me get some light in here. And so he was literally losing his business. And he owned an auto care center, and he was reduced all the way back down to working out of his frickin' garage. And so when I was younger, I used to go and I would sweep all the floors and shake out the mats and deliver parts. And I worked for my uncle on and off when I was a teenager, and even in my 20s, man. And he was a full-blown workaholic dude, classic rock blasted, cars coming in and out, like straight up hustler. Taught himself everything. So, and I go in the middle of the freezing February winter, and he's in the garage and he's working on vehicles now at his home. And he had, the radio on, he had a propane heater to keep the garage warm, and there he was, dirt all over him, 9 o'clock at night. He's got a wife and kids, and he had a hammer and he's banging out ball joints. And he's got the torch going and he's totally focused working because that's what he had to do to feed his family. And he did that for like 9 months or something, or a year and a half. And he eventually was able to get back on his feet, go out and get another shop. And then within another year or two, he had built an entire business, then got another location and had dude is a straight up steamroller. He built his whole business back, and he told me that at what point it got, bad enough where he was all the way up here and he went all the way down here. He had saved a bunch of change, and he had paid his mortgage and his bills for a few months with a bunch of change. But he made sure there was always, food in the fridge, lights are on, gas in the cars, and he always took care of his family no matter what. And then he built right back up to being really, really, really successful again. But it was in those pivotal moments where sometimes I'll be crouching in my videos because the camera's low and I want to sit up straight. See, there you go. Because he never gave up and he never gave in when the economy got bad. And part of it was one of the main roads of his shop, his really successful shop. They opened up construction and they closed down the whole road for a year and a half, and nobody could barely get in and out, and it just destroyed all the businesses on this main road, this construction. And so I used to watch him, and he'd say things to me like, nobody cares, it's a cold, lonely world, get up and go to work. If you wake up and you're sick, go to work. If you wake up and you're depressed, go to work. If you got stuff going on at home, go to work. If the economy's bad, go to work. And he would say things like that. And so I think about the economic environment right now and how some people aren't spending money. Dude, it was weird. 2020, 21, people were just throwing out money like crazy. I could not get the phone to stop ringing with people wanting to do jobs we couldn't even take on. And so what happens is when things are going really, really good, we get burned out from answering the phones, we get burned out from running our business, and we finally want to get to that place where we can get a breather and take a break before we go nuts. Because running a business will eat away at you. If you read The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, he talks about how you started your business and it was a dream come true, and you were so excited, and you now can have the freedom of being your own boss. But then fast forward, 9 out of 10 businesses fail in 5 to 10 years due to all these different related things, sometimes unrelated things. And then one day you wake up and you realize you don't own a business, you own a job. And it's the worst job ever because you're the first one. You have to be there in the morning to make sure the business opens. You're the last one there at night to close the business. If you're not there to put out the fires, then the fire won't get put out. And he talks about putting systems into your business and building a culture and all these things. And so this is what I see this is the chasm. Excuse me, if you read the book 3 Feet from Gold, 3 feet from gold. It talks about most people quit when you're literally 3 feet from gold. And when you're feeling the most frustrated and the most down and you feel like the chasm is the widest, it's when you're learning the most deep, valuable lessons. And sometimes you do have to let go of certain beliefs that you had or get some coaching. But belief is the most important thing. I was watching Myron Golden yesterday on YouTube, and he's an amazing coach. He said that doubt is a belief. So we think faith and doubt is the lack of faith, but it's not. Faith is a belief that things will work out in your favor for the best. Doubt is actually a belief that things are not going to work out. So doubt will creep into your mind. And here's the thing, this is about mindset. I really, really want you to pay attention to, is that when doubt creeps in and you see other people that are doubtful, human beings are wired, we're hardwired for social proof. We look around the environment to see how we should think and feel. We got to override this thing. It's like the built-in AI, right? In our biology, we have to override this thing and manufacture our own levels of certainty. And it's like, but then a higher doubt can creep in. You think about if you watch the movie The Titanic, remember like when they were playing the music as the Titanic was going down and they were maintaining their game face even though they were walking into battle in the movies of the wars and like the Mel Gibson Bravehearts and stuff. Like, I think that there's a higher order of you that must maintain a game face, but also take massive action. We gotta get better at marketing and advertising, pick up that phone quicker, get the hell out of our comfort zone. And everything will be okay if we get very focused and take massive action and realize that your ability to, like a chameleon, your adaptability to different environments is the key. I've been through 2008 and it was crazy, bro. Like, there was straight up ghost town. Buildings were shutting down, people were losing their houses, crazy. And there was no jobs, there was nobody spending any money, and people were just in their houses, frozen. Same thing happened in 2001. I had an apartment, I lost my apartment in 2001. And because there was literally no work. I ended up sleeping in my truck. So, manufacture your own certainty, or only listen to people who have high levels of certainty, but also be hyper aware. So the reciprocal of what I'm talking about is people listen to bad news and they really hook on to the bad news, and then it starts to permeate their mind, and then they build the case and they see it everywhere. Imagine this. Imagine like the whole world, if it were going to come to an end. Would you... This is up to you. I gotta be careful what I say on YouTube here. There's a part of me that believes this is crazy. Part of me thinks it's a fact that all this shit is going to hell in a handbasket and we're screwed, and I might as well just be happy and do the best I can. But then there's another part of me that thinks the opposite, that the world is going to become amazing. And so as darkness grows, lightness grows, and it's just more and more and more polarizing as the universe expands. I believe that kind of like what you see is what you get, and you will attract all the evidence for you. And ignorance is almost bliss. We're moving into this, it's like this quantum chasm where people have woken up to the fact where society is like lukewarm and people are afraid to be polarizing and nobody believes in anything anymore, and everything is falling apart at the seams. So to me, this tells me that we're moving into a new reality. If you look at, like, I did this math experiment myself, I just crunched all the math. If the Milky Way galaxy is 100,000 light years across, okay, and now imagine your kitchen table in your kitchen is the Milky Way galaxy, and you take a marble and you roll it across the kitchen table. In about 2 seconds it would fall off on the floor. But imagine that the marble is moving at the speed of light. And the speed of light is 186,000 miles per second. That's so fast you can't even wrap your head around it. You would just come apart. You would dissolve into nothing. It's so fast. Now, if the speed of light 186,000 miles per second, how far would that go in a day? How many seconds are in a day? I don't know, you can do the math. Well, not a day, not a week, not a month, not a year, not 5, 10, 15, 20, not 100, not 1,000, 10,000, but 100,000 years at the speed of light. Okay, so that means that the stars, I broke down the math, in our galaxy, on the other side of our galaxy, because if, hang with me here, if the Earth is in the third planet from the sun, and our solar system is in the third arm of the Milky Way galaxy, you might think, oh, here we are in the third arm. But no, our solar system is so huge, but if you zoom all the way down and you look at it, our solar system is like a whole solar system. It's literally a grain of sand. And the Milky Way galaxy is how big it is. So if you roll that marble across the table, the moment you were born and you lived 100 years, and on the day of your death, you looked 100 years, and you looked at this marble, how far will it look like it had rolled across the table? Maybe a millimeter? Maybe imperceptible. And it was traveling at the speed of light. It'll look like as if it didn't even move. That's how big our galaxy alone is. So if you look at, we think about like Jesus Christ was born 2,000 years ago, over 2,000, he died at the age of 33. The stars that shined in the galaxy when Jesus was born and died in our own galaxy, Jesus was born and died and a whole nother 2,000 years went by. We still won't even see the light of the stars that shined when he died for another, if it was over 2,000 years, 100,000 years, another 78 to 80,000 more years. We won't even see, because we can't see the light, because it's, did this make sense? So I'm talking bloop, like even the birth and death of Christ is like bloop, so fast. From then till now, we think it's a long time. So our lives, we're like, if you look at the edge of like coral reefs and all these little organisms are growing and dying as the tides are coming up and down and washing away, like that's how we are. We're like the fizz on Vernors. So when I think about that, I think about our life comes and goes so fast that hundreds of people in generations, I'm not talking about hundreds of people, but generationally, like how many 100 people go back, what would that be, like 700 years, maybe 100 people, 600 years. So we'll go back to like the 1400s. Let's say the 1400s. Think about how long. Was that like before the Gutenberg press? This was like so long ago. This is when like Columbus sailed the seas. like this is far back history. No. It was like literally, boop. That's how long ago all that was. So our entire civilization, and if you look at like the birth of AI and all the quantum physics and quantum computing and stuff and technology we have, it just literally went boop, and it's literally going to go boop, pop, and we're gonna, like, our civilization is gonna born and die, new technology, blown. We're gonna blow ourselves up, and then well, I don't know that for sure, but we're gonna reach levels of ascension that's so high we become 4th, 5th, 6th density consciousness and pure spirit, and then we'll blow ourselves up again. Like, there's probably been so many races of like humans and probably aliens. I know I'm going way off track here. I'm trying to draw this big distinctional conclusion. Stuff, and then here we are right now in this little tiny 85, 95 year lifespan going boop, just like a blip. So with all that being said, and you think about all that, I was like, oh my God, the economy's a little bit bad right now. I gotta work my business and I gotta make money, but I really want to grow and have this beautiful dreams of being a multi-millionaire so we can have real estate and vacation homes and live and actually be somebody. And it's like, you're gonna be dead and gone in a snap of a finger. And then after like maybe 5 years, except for your closest family, nobody's going to remember who you are. Even the greatest people in history, the Martin Luther Kings and the JFKs and the Patanjali and Buddha and Jesus and all these different people. Like, now they're just people who's like have had an effect. But what I mean is, like, what is this? Why are we here? And what is it going on? How important is it? With all that being said, I can just relax and be totally present. And here's the fear. If you let go of all your desires because you actually wake up to the truth that, I don't mean this in a negative way, but in a positive way, that most of the stuff we think matters doesn't even matter at all. You just wake up. You actually like start losing desire for worldly things because it doesn't matter anyways. And then if everybody woke up to that, people would stop spending money, the entire economy would fall apart, and people wouldn't care about stuff anymore. I remember years ago, I would be bored out of my mind, and like, so I would go like walk through like the dollar store or Walmart or department stores just to kill time, to try to like just relieve some stress. But I was looking at items and looking at things, trying to find the answer in things. And I started to get so disgusted by it that I realized that the answer isn't in things. Things are cool, but for the most part, aside from their utility function to make our life, like you need a couch to sit on, you need a car to drive, you need a roof over your head. The next level I even personally feel like I've ascended to was like into the consciousness and mental. I am a little mental. It like was like, wow, I'm actually looking for a feeling. We want to feel complete and whole and true, and we want to feel centered and grounded and just be happy, right? Okay, so what does that feel like? How can we lean into that? So fear is a very low vibration, and peace and love are a high vibration. And I really think, like Albert Einstein said, energy can't be created nor destroyed, and you can't solve a problem at the same level you were at when you created the problem. So the only way to get out of this or raise to a higher level of vibrational consciousness is to do just that. Get rid of and cut the fat on the toxic things, the toxic people, the toxic substances, the toxic habits, any of that. Get rid of all that and allow yourself to raise up. And it's painful because your identity doesn't like it, because it's so used to being the old you, right? And so it might be pulling you apart at the seams. Sometimes you got to have a breakdown in order to have a breakthrough. And the hardest thing is people before us worked 30, 40, 50 years in factories and doing jobs that they necessarily hated or didn't like, but they told themselves that if they did that, they were a good man or a good woman. As long as they kept a roof over their head and food in the fridge and the mortgage paid and took care of their kids and took care of their families and put presents under the tree, you're a good person, and it doesn't matter what you do for a living. But people have woken up to the fact that they don't want to do stuff they don't like to do, and they ain't going to do it. Like when I say people don't believe in stuff anymore, it's like people don't believe in bullshit anymore. People have woken up to bullshit, and so have you. So we're moving into this more authentic version, and I think that there's possibly like huge corporations or certain people that are threatened by that, because the entire fabric of society is falling apart because people are waking up. So it's like you got to do what you got to do. You got to still pay your bills and keep a roof over your head and do all these things. But I think it's okay to have higher aspirations. You got to maintain your bottom line, and you got to keep the bills paid because no one's going to do it for you. But it's good to have higher aspirations, to want to be awake and to want to do great things and leave a legacy, or to contribute and live in a higher vibration. But you can have all that right here and right now. It's a feeling inside of you, and I think that allowing yourself to have the feeling first gives you the drive and the anticipation and the motivation to want to do more, have more, achieve more, be more. And so like if you can't get leverage on yourself and you're stuck in the muck and you're stuck in like a depressive state, this is more of an energetic thing. It's a vibratory thing that you can vibrate your way literally right out of.